Hey guys, welcome back to JR14. Here we are in another video for today. We have the Daily Driver Accord in the garage because it is extremely cold, hence the hat and the jacket. It is very, very cold out today. But today, we're actually going to be doing something with the Accord that I've wanted to do for a while. And today, what that is, we're going to be installing these. We're going to be installing brand new speakers for the Accord, front and rear, no extra amp or anything like that, with wiring and adapters. So without further ado, let's get started with the video right now. Now, as you guys remember, when I did when I had the Honda Civic, I upgraded the speakers, and I absolutely loved the way it sounded. For just a speaker replacement, it did very well as far as the performance and how the music sounded. Obviously, there could have been things to improve that, an amp, a sub, things of that nature, but it was the budget Civic build for a reason, and that's why I went with it. I went with some JBLs. I was going to do that this time, but JBLs have been out of stock. The ones specifically that I want for this car have been out of stock for a while. So what I ended up doing when I went to Crutchfield, I actually decided to go with these kickers. Now, for the rears, they're 6x9, so it's the same size for the doors as well as the rears for the Accord. So one of the things that I actually really do love about Crutchfield is that you can put in your make and model of your car. Example, this is a 2007 Honda Accord, and I wanted to make sure, and you put in the trim. This is an SE. It does have the 6-speaker sound system. It had the 6 CD changer radio, and it has 2 tweeters. It has 2 front door speakers, 2 rear deck speakers, and 2 speakers, as you can see here on the dash. Now, I'm not going to be messing with the ones on the dash because, as you can see, I only have the front doors and the rear doors here. And the reason for that is because I like the way the tweeters sound in this car. I think if you added a little bit more power to it, then it would pretty much justify the sound. Honestly, it just doesn't have enough of the deep tones and the clarity through the rest of the speakers. So I decided to change them with these. Like I said, the JBLs have been not discontinued, but they've been out of stock for a while. When I had this car for almost 2 months now. Actually just about 2 months. I've had it for 2 months, but the issue with that was that there was no JBL speaker since then. So I actually decided to go with Kicker. Now, Kicker, is a really good brand. They've been, like my dad has had some Kicker speakers with some amps back in the day, and they sounded great. Obviously, I was really, really young at the time, but they sound cool. They sounded cool, so I decided to give them a try with some OEM replacements. We have 3-way speakers for the rear and 2-way speakers for the front. The reason why I went with just 2 ways in the front and not 3 ways is because I already have tweeters in the dash, so that should justify the sound for the front and the rears to really sound pretty good. So for the rears, I actually went with the Kicker KSC 6930s. They are 300 watt peak, 150 watt RMS, and for the front, and they're 6x9s. They're 3-way speakers, like I said before. Now for the fronts, these are actually pretty surprising. They're 200 watt peak and 100 watt RMS. And these are the KSC's 650s for the front. Now, these are 6.5 or 160 millimeter speakers. The rears are 6x9 or 160 by 230 millimeter rear speakers. And the only thing that we're not going to be using is these grills. They come with these grills. We're not going to be using it because they're going to go back into the existing door panels here. So without further ado, we're actually going to go ahead. I'm waiting for my brother Eric to get out the house so that this way he can help me film this. Also, with these, they actually did come with some adapter plates for the doors. So these are for the front doors. So the Accord has something different than the Civic. Now, unfortunately, I'm going to have to take the door panels off of this car to put these in. That should be no problem. These, again, I mean, hopefully they're no problem. I mean, the car's never been apart before, but it's a newer vehicle than a Civic, so nothing should really break. And I heard it's pretty easy to take these door panels off of this car, so it shouldn't be that hard. The rear speakers, so the rear deck is just the rear grille that pops up out of the rear deck, and you should be able to access all the screws and just pretty much plug and play the speakers from there. Now, these are the adapters. These are specifically for Hondas. This Accord is no different than my 99 Civic when it comes to the wiring. So these are original plug and play. You get 2 per pack. 4 speakers total. 4 of these, you should be good. These are for the front doors. One thing weirdly though, now when Crutchfield actually, they automatically put this in your cart when you order a set of speakers. And I believe these were actually free included in them. However, yeah. Interesting enough. I'm curious if these are going to work or not. We'll figure out a way around it. I'm not too sure, but we may use the existing ones. We may not. I don't know how we're going to do this yet, but we'll figure it out. So without further ado, I'm rambling, guys. Let's get started with the video and let's start tearing this car apart. But before we get started in taking this car apart, let's give a shout out to today's sponsor. All right, guys, before we continue with today's video, I want to give a special thanks to our sponsor, Kove Audio. Now, if you guys are like me, I love listening to music no matter what I'm doing. It could be wrenching on the car or having friends over listening to music, having a good time. That's why I want to introduce to you guys the Commuter 2 from Kove Audio. Now, what's great about this speaker is that you get 360-degree surround sound. Another great thing about this speaker is that it has Bluetooth 5.0. What does that mean? It means you can connect to all the new devices that you currently already own. Your phones, your tablet, even your computer. If you want to stream music from it, you can stream music directly to this thing. Now, the awesome great thing about this is waterproof resistant. It's resistant. That is, you can put it by the pool, can get a little water on it, but you can't put it in the pool. So the best part about this speaker, like the absolute best part of the speaker, you can have one big booming sound from one full speaker, or if you wanted to fill out the room, you can split it into 2, and you can lay these and mount these on each side of the room to have that great, fantastic 360 sound. Now, I think this is great. I think all you guys should own it. So this is why I'm doing this for you. If you go to the link in the description down below, I'm giving you 67% off of this speaker today. That's right, 67%. You can use the discount code JR14_67 to get your Commuter 2 today. Now let's get back with the video. All right, so I just got started just doing everything here. Now, the first things that you want to do with this door handle, before you even take it apart like I just did, there's a cover that covers these 2 holes, these 2 Phillips head screwdrivers in here, 2 Phillips head screws in here, and there's another Phillips where you grab the door. There's a rubber trim that covers this, and there's a Phillips head screw in there. Now in here, what you want to do is, this is the door pin. This is for your door handle. So as you can see, that pulls the lock. Now, what you have to do is this clip right here, you have to push that clip off. Once you push that off, you can lift this out. But you have to, well, I can't do it with one hand. So you got to lift this clip, push it up like that, and then it'll pop off, and then you can lift that up. And then this green thing that's housed, that's in here, you just have to lift that up out of its thing. And then you can take the door handle off. And then after you be able to take the door handle off, you should be able to pry at the door panel. So let's do that really quickly and I'll get back to it. So this green piece you pry up from, where did I pry from? Right here, from this clip right here. That center piece goes in here. You pry that up. And then this little tab right here goes in this hole, and it's locked with this locking piece right here. So then it locks on top of it, and that's how you get the door handle off. Now, after you do that, you're kind of ready to pull the door panel off. There's a couple clips that you're gonna have to do as far as electrics is going. One is the window switch controls here, and the other is going to be that light. So just be careful when you start prying on this thing. And also, I just did it in advance, but you can you'll have to like pry this clip off, this triangle cover piece here off. And obviously this is for the power mirrors, but we don't need to remove that. So there's the door handle. Oops, I didn't mean to do all that. I mean, I did, but I didn't mean it. You know what I mean. All right, so let's pry this guy off, and then we'll be able to, all right, so let's pry this guy off, and then we'll be able to get everything situated, all right? So let's go. All right, so Sorry, there's not a lot of light here. I mean, doing the best I could do with this garage, but this garage does have a great amount of light, though. I like the way that I love the way that it's set up in here. Okay, so now the door panel, pretty much you pry from the bottom. There's clips at the bottom. Once you take the clips off at the bottom, then what you want to do is like a little lip that this sits inside this tray, and then you pull up over the locking mechanism here, and then you have it off. But now you have a couple of connections. Like I said, there's a connection for that light, and there's a switch for there's a connector for that switch. Once you remove those, then the door panel will be completely free, and you should have no problems getting to that guy, which is the speaker right there. All right, now we're finally here at the speaker. Finally, right? So we made a hit to the speaker. Now, as you can see, there's really no screws or anything holding this in. It's just held in by this one big clip right here, and then it slides up and pops out. At least that's how I remember it. But again, these aren't paper, but they've upgraded from the Civic ones that I had, which were paper. But these are still really shallow and pretty weak. So I guess now what I'm going to do, I need to get some more adhesive, some double-sided glue for this piece so I can get that back on the door with no problem. But now I guess what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a flathead screwdriver on the top and pry it back and then slide it up, and then I'm able to get the speaker out that way. All right, guys. So I went ahead, like you said, I took the door panel off. Now to get the speaker out, it's actually pretty simple. So what I had to do is, you see this metal clip at the top? It's pretty much clipped in here. You have to take a thick metal, flathead screwdriver. Do not use a pry tool because this clip is pretty stiff, and it will probably break the pry tool. It probably is not enough force to push this down. Once you push this down, it'll clip out, and then you pull the whole speaker up, and it falls out like this. Now, I'm going to do a comparison really quickly. But I want to check to see the adapters to make sure that they work with this. If not, then I may have to cut the speaker out and use these again. But I don't want to do that. I bought adapters with this that said they would fit directly in the door panel. So hopefully that works. But yeah, let's get this speaker unplugged, and then let's put it side by side with what it's going to be replaced with. So let's go. So here's the difference between the old speaker and the new speaker. Now, on my Civic, remember that this cone piece was paper, and you could literally poke your hole through it. Now, I can't do that with this because, obviously, from 1999 to 2007, Honda upgraded the speakers a little bit. And, yeah, so pretty much this is, like I said, it's a small little magnet back here. I'm sure this is probably still Pioneer. Honda was contracted with Pioneer for a while when it came to speakers. Got my boy Eric here. Check out the videos we did on his S5. Not recently, we did it this summer, but he's definitely enjoying the car. Thank you, ECS, for that. But with these speakers, okay, so now this is the new speaker. As you can see here, there's no, this piece right here, inner tweeter. Like I said, this is a two-way speaker. The cone is still like this, but it's less flexible. And then also back here is the big difference, the magnet. So the magnet on these are just massive compared to this guy right here. Now, another thing that we can do, here's the issue. So these brackets that they gave me do not work with this car. There's no way to clip them in. Me and Eric have a little bit of a solution how we're going to get them to work temporarily. This is since I figured out it's so easy to take off the door panel. I'm not really worried about, but we're going to figure out a solution. What we're going to do is we're probably just going to zip tie this piece and this piece to the door. It's going to be very, very tight to get that secure fit. It's not going to fall off or anything like that. And then we're going to screw the speaker into the plastic adapters that they gave me. Unfortunately, this isn't going to work as easy as planned. Another solution, if this doesn't work, which it should work, I don't see why it wouldn't. But if it doesn't work, then what we can do here is that we can modify this. Now, I'm going to go to the store and see if I can get the adapters for the Accord, and just take the speakers out another day, and then, just figure everything else out later on. But I've seen a couple people do this on YouTube where they trim all this excess and just keep the clip. So then, and then they cut, because you can cut the speaker out of this, the stock speaker out of this, and then you just Dremel these pieces out but still keep the structure of this piece, and then you'll still be able to utilize the factory mount, which you know will work securely into the door, and you should have no issues. But we're going to try this method first and see if it's going to work out. And if it does, great. And if it doesn't, then we tried. All right, now we fast forward. We got the door panels in. We figured out a way to do it. It works. It's pretty secure with the method of zip ties and using the adapters that were the wrong adapters. But now we're going to install the rears. Now, I just jinxed myself because I said these were a lot easier. But if you can see these guys right here in the windows, these can just pry out. And then there's 4, I think 8mm bolts or 10mm bolts holding these in from the inside. They're already unplugged because we had a little bit of a sound issue, and we negated it and we fixed it. So now all we got to do now, is, well, Eric's trying to pull the seat down. So hang on. Go ahead, pull it. There you go. All right, so all we need to do now is pry these out, these 2 grills out. And after that, there's 4, like I said, 4, either it's 8mm bolts or they are 10mm bolts, but I think there's at least 4 of them on each side. So like, Eric ain't playing no games. He's just going to it. On the Civic, if you guys remember the Civic, Eric's doing that right here. But if you remember the Civic had a whole plastic tray that had to be removed. But these, thank you Honda for not allowing us to have to do that. Eric, if you want, you could just use you might have to use something a little bit thicker than that. You may not. I don't know. He's going to try to do it anyway. But yeah, so we're going to do that. And as he's doing that, I'm actually going to show you the speakers right now. All right, so here are the kickers. These, like I said, these are the KSC 6930s. Now these are a 3-way 6x9, like a subwoofer speaker in the rear. They come with these cool grills, metal grills, kicker on them. Again, we're not going to be using those because we don't need them, because we're going to have everything flush inside the OEM finish. They give you a bunch of other things though. If you're just doing it brand new out of a sheet of metal, you do have a cut, like a cut tablet that they give you. They give you the grill, they give you the speaker itself with this big old magnet on the back. And then also they give you these. So this is all the wiring. They do give you these for the front too. I didn't acknowledge that, but they give you these for the front just in case if you are cutting and splicing into this. But like I said, since we have these adapters, which are this right here, this plugs into the actual stock OEM Honda harness, and we won't need to do any splicing. This just plugs in place, and this will slide into the 2 connectors in the back, and that should relatively be it. Now, Eric is still trying to get these. So what he's trying to, he just got it. So what we're trying to do is that there's these little pry things right here. Oh, good. So like I said, simple, right?
Yeah. Because you ain't doing it. That's why.
All right. So these definitely look like 8mm just bolts. So Eric, if you could pass me a 8mm socket, please. I'll go ahead and unscrew these out, and I'll pop them out from the top. No, it's right there. Right there. I've already laid my stuff out already though there. So as you can see, these are old and crusty. These are also silicone with a lot of dust in them. Dirty. So I'm going to go ahead and get these replaced with these bad boys right here. Again, I will do another quick comparison once we take one of these out, and I will show you the difference. So let's get to that portion right now. So here, like I said, here's the new speakers. See this big old magnet back here? This is what, actually, you know what's so funny? Because the fronts didn't quite work out as well, and me and Eric was really testing it out. It didn't sound bad. But I can only imagine what these are going to sound like. Hopefully they sound a little, yeah, we're going to plug them in. Oh, they're adhered on. That's why. Oh, all the foam melted off the back of these. So is there like a mounting plate that we can use, or like a foam plate? Nope. Okay. So now all we got to do is just use those same screws, put this guy in, which we're going to do right now. Actually, first, we're going to connect these guys, and then we're going to do that, and then we're going to put them in the car, and we'll get a little sound test, see how they sound. All right, guys, so we are done. But before I put the grills back on, I wanted to show you We got the kickers here and here. Now, compared to the Civic, some pros and cons. Pros, these were a lot easier to put in than the Civic. The Civic, I had to take this whole rear shelf off in order to get back here. And these I could just pop off the grill. So Honda changed their design from 1999 to 2007 in a huge way. So I'm glad these grills were able to pop out with ease, no breaking clips or anything like that. Here's the con. When I did speakers, I mean, now granted, these are kickers and the other ones are JBL, but the designs were very similar. Now with these, with kickers, I guess they're really known for like crossovers. So these have these crossovers in it that won't work unless if you use their crossovers. So there's 3 adapters here, 3 plugs here that you have to use. Hopefully you guys can see that. There's 3 adapters plugs there, and they run into this crossover into these adapters to my adapter, and then I'm able to plug the adapter to the car. Now, obviously, this is not an ideal way of doing it, but considering the time frame and everything that we had, it's just going to have to work for now. So what we're going to do is we're going to zip tie these cleanly to these, to the actual, I don't know if you guys can see that right here. Hang on, I'm going to turn on the light. All right. So I'm going to shine some light on the situation so you guys can see. Okay. So what we have to do now is that we're going to zip tie these to this wiring harness right here so they're out of the way. One, the connectors are out of the way, or the parts that we crimped into are out of the way, and the crossovers are out of the way from any other issues, any other items from the trunk. So we're going to do that on both sides and have a little bit of cleaner look, and then we're able to put everything back in the trunk. And yeah, we're going to call that a wrap. All the screws are back in with no issues at all. It actually turned out very well. I'm sorry I don't have my gimbal. We literally did this right after work. And yeah, that's pretty much it. But I'm going to go ahead and get everything put together, and then I'm going to give you guys a sound test to see how these things actually sound. I'm very curious on how these all sound in unison right now. I know this is nighttime right now. I just wanted to go ahead and do a review of these speakers, of how they sound after having them in the car. So this is like about 3 months after that installation portion of the video, all at one time. So I crammed it all in one, but this is like about a 3-month span. The reason why I did that is because I wanted to give you guys my honest, true opinion on the speakers and what do I think about them and how do I like them. So first off, let's just say this. I love the speakers. I love the way they sound. The Accord in a 2007 Accord compared to my 99 Civic, obviously the amp has gotten better over the years from 1999 to 2007. So this is a stock amp inside of the car, but obviously comparing a stock 99 Civic amp versus a stock 2007 Accord amp, the Accord obviously is going to be a much better amp, so you have a little bit of better sound. So I already have that going for it. Now, changing the speakers out, you don't really have to change the tweeters at all. I have no bad experiences with like the clarity of the speakers, and also there's two-way, 2-component in the front and 3-way component in the rear. So it really does help with the clarity. I do have tweeters pretty much all the speakers now, so I get that clarity throughout. And I actually have some sound clips, some sound samples here from my boy Ish. He creates really good beats and things of that nature. So I will put his link down in the description below, all his information in the description below of this video if you like some of the beats. I'm gonna play like maybe 2 or 3 songs, not fully out, but just skipping through them so you can kind of hear the clarity and everything. So I already have my equalizers and everything set up to where this sounds great. So I'm gonna go start with this one right here called Big Time. So as you already can hear that clarity. Yes. That clarity though, perfect. When I tell you these speakers sound that much better, now, you know, it's still needs some work, but this sounds pretty good for just plug and play replacement. Play another one here. You guys may have heard some of these songs in my videos already. Shout out to my boy Ish. But like the clarity of everything sounds amazing. There's no sub in the car either. I just want to clarify that. No subwoofer in the car at all. It's just literally a speaker replacement. Let's see what else we can play here. The bass, the clarity's all there. Like that, the clarity in these speakers, yo. I know I keep saying it. Woo! Yes. All right, so that's enough of that. So you guys get my drift with this, right? For literally, it wasn't expensive to do them. I think they were like under, I'm really not, I wouldn't say cheap, but I really I'm budget cautious when it comes to like just working on my daily driver. I didn't need something that just booms the block. I don't need anything like that. I just wanted something that sounded much better. I'm in this car majority of the time compared to the GTI. The GTI already has a great sound system, so it's just really nice to be in something that's a daily driver, but having the clarity of the speakers as if I'm in a luxury car or something like that. In my opinion, it's kind of cool. I you know, it's definitely pretty awesome. So yeah. Well, the disclaimer that I want to make, I just want to just clarify a couple of things. One, I got all my stuff from Crutchfield. They're absolutely amazing with everything like I told you about in the beginning of the video. You could pretty much put in your make and model and trim level of your car, and you're able to go ahead and get everything that you need to get done as far as what you need to order, the wiring harnesses, the adapters. Now, a con, they did send me the wrong door adapters that I showed. I don't think I showed you that in the video. I didn't want to show you that in the video because basically I kind of like rigged it up just to make it work for now. But shout out to Crutchfield. I literally contacted them. They overnighted me the correct adapters that's for the front doors of this car. As you guys saw in the video, they sent me the rear adapters for a Scion XB, which is the incorrect ones. They actually went ahead and overnighted me a set of the correct ones that go in the door for the 2007 Honda Accord. So shout out to Crutchfield for that. But I just want to give a special shout out to them. They've been awesome with their customer service as far as everything is concerned. And hopefully we'll be able to put a sub in this car and an amp to get everything tied together and to get a little bit more great sound out of this car. But if you guys did like this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up and make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. Give that hit the notification bell so you can post notifications on videos like this one that I post out every single week. And I want you guys to always remember, when you're trying to make your daily driver a better one, you guys always remember that cars are a lifestyle.